Before talking about what happens during and after death, we have to know where the answer that I will provide comes from to be sure it's correct. Let me first explain this point by answering 4 questions. Do we have a purpose? The first question that comes to mind is, am I here for a reason, or is my existence just random? Some believe life has no purpose, and I respect that view. But if we pause and think logically, we see that everything around us has a purpose. We eat because we're hungry. We sleep because our bodies need rest. A key is made to open a lock. Even a carrot provides nutrients essential for health. If everything has a purpose, then isn't it logical that we, too, have one? But what is it? Is there a creator? If I told you this chair came into existence on its own, would you believe me? Of course not. Someone must have made it. In the same way, just as a chair requires a maker, we, the universe and everything in it, must also have a creator. The limitations of human knowledge. Humans have limited knowledge. We can't see the full picture, so we interpret things from limited perspectives. That's why, if I ask you, why are we here? Your answer will always begin with, I think. But if we seek the absolute truth about our purpose, the most logical source is the one who created us. Who is the creator? A true creator must have power over existence itself, bringing something from nothing. He must be beyond time, space, and matter, since he created them. So who is the creator? Let's consider a logical equation. Premise 1. Nothing brings itself into existence, and nothing happens by pure coincidence. Therefore, there must be a creator. Premise 2. I did some research, you can make your own too, and found that the only one who said that he created us and the universe is God. No one in history has claimed to be the creator of everything in a serious and universally accepted way except God. Conclusion. If a creator must exist, and only God made this claim in a way that aligns with reason, then God is the only option and he's the creator. For more information about the purpose of life, I left a link in the description that explains everything about this point. Now we know that God is the creator, so he's the only source that we have to trust to answer many questions. God sent many messengers all over the history of humanity, like Moses with Judaism, Jesus with Christianity, and the last one is Muhammad with Islam, to reveal scriptures to guide us. Through them, he explained so many things, including what happens during and after death. To answer this question, I chose the Islam version because Islam with the Holy Book, the Quran, is the last update from God, so it's more complete, and because in the Quran, we find a clear explanation of what will happen after death. After this knowledge, it's time to answer our question. What happens during and after death? Imagine life as a short bus ride. When the ride gets bumpy, we stay calm because we know we're getting off at the next stop. The next stop is when you die, but what exactly is that next stop? Is it darkness, or is it the beginning of a new chapter? According to Quran, death is not an exit, it's an evolution. After death, there is a concept called the barrier, or Al-Barzakh in Arabic. It's a middle dimension. Think of it like a waiting lounge in an airport. You've left your home, but you haven't reached your final destination yet. The barrier is a transition between life and the judgment day. So, you leave your body in life and you go to the barrier, where there's only your soul. In this transition, there are 2 versions. One for a person who lived a life of kindness and followed the instructions of God, and the other for a person who lived a life of cruelty. The transition begins with a state of altered consciousness. It's a natural detachment where the soul starts to loosen its grip on the body. For a person who lived a life of kindness, this isn't a moment of pain, but a moment of recognition. Science shows brain activity surges during death. Spiritual texts suggest this is the life review. You see your best moments. The time you helped a stranger, the love you gave. You aren't alone. You begin to perceive angels whose presence feels like a warm, reassuring embrace. For a person who lived a life of cruelty, this isn't a moment of recognition, but a moment of pain. Once the soul leaves the body, it experiences sharp vision. Imagine being colorblind your whole life and suddenly seeing the full spectrum of colors. Without the heavy physical body, the soul is weightless. You begin to hear the frequency of the universe, the vibration of mountains, stars, and nature. It's a world of the joys of the soul, for a person who lived a life of kindness and followed the instructions of God, and a nightmare for a person who lived a life of cruelty. You are more alive now than you ever were in your physical skin. Is it lonely there? Not at all. It's a place of reunion. Souls gathering like old friends. They recognize each other not by faces, but by their inner light or character. For the virtuous, their resting place isn't a dark, narrow grave. It's mentally and spiritually expanded. Imagine your soul resting in a vast, beautiful garden, with a window open to the ultimate peace of the afterlife. You are waiting, but you are waiting in luxury for the good ones, and it's a nightmare for the villains. Remember that if you want to be on the good side after death, you have to listen to what God said and try to apply. The most beautiful part? The connection isn't broken. Every time you remember a departed loved one with a sincere prayer or do a good deed in their memory, they feel it. It reaches them like a gift. So, the message of this journey is hope, not fear. If you plant seeds of kindness today, you will find a forest of peace waiting for you tomorrow. Death is not the end of the book. It's just turning the page to a much better chapter for some. After this period, in the intermediate realm, comes the ultimate climax of the human story, the day of resurrection. It is described as a great awakening, where every soul that ever lived is restored to its full form. This isn't just a trial, it is the moment of absolute justice. Every secret thought, every hidden act of kindness, and every injustice will be brought to light. It is the final crossroads that determines your eternal destiny. Depending on the weight of one's heart and deeds, this day leads to one of two eternal homes. Paradise, a state of unimaginable peace, joy, and closeness to the divine, or its opposite, hell, a place of profound loss and regret for those who turned away from truth and compassion. In the end, our life here is the pen, but that day is when the ink dries on our eternal story. You're so lucky, now you know this information. You still have the time to make the choices that lead to a beautiful destination. Start today by searching about Islam.